Hello and welcome to the Wiregrass Future Talks series. My name is Tim Drexler, and today we'll be talking with health information technology, which involves medical coding. The Future Talks series, for those of you who don't know, is a series where we will invite professionals from different careers that we teach here at Wiregrass Georgia Technical College and just ask them questions about their career. Students in the audience will be able to have an opportunity to talk to them and ask them questions that they need to know, and hopefully this will be a help to everyone. The Health Information Technology program at Wiregrass Georgia Technical College offers both degree and diploma tracks. Students choosing diploma can graduate within 4 full-time semesters and be prepared to be a medical coder and biller required for Medicare and insurance reimbursement in hospitals, outpatient clinics, and medical offices. The degree program can be completed in 5 full-time semesters and receive the technical knowledge and skills necessary to process, maintain, analyze, and report health information data according to legal accreditation, licensure, and certification standards for reimbursement, facility planning, marketing, risk management, utilization management, quality assessment, and research. Graduates will also develop leadership skills necessary to serve in functional supervisory roles in various components of the Health Information Technology program. On this episode, we'll be talking with the following people. First, Jennifer Wingertson, who is a remote inpatient coder. She's been 7 years in the industry. Graduated from Wiregrass Technical College with an AAS. Could you say what that is real quick?
Associate of Applied Science.
Associate of Applied Science, okay. And you have Registered Health Information Technician. That is your title with regard to your career, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. And you're also a certified coding specialist. Now, is that a license as well that you get?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. A lot of licenses in this field.
Yes,
definitely. All right. Our next guest is Kayla Sanders, who is a Coder 1, is your official title. You've been in the industry for 5.5 years. Like you have put 0.5. Like, I've been doing it for 5.5, dadgummit. All right.
Proud of that.
You graduated from Wiregrass Technical College as well, and you got an AAS as well, correct? All right, and you are also a Registered Health Information Technician and Certified Coding Specialist. All right. The next is Stephanie Mercer. We have a Clinical Documentation Improvement Specialist. That's a long title.
Yes, it is.
All right.
I would say CDI.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in CIS, and that's all there. We have a lot of things like that. 6 years in the industry. You have also an AAS from Wiregrass Georgia Technical College as well. And you're also a Registered Health Information Technician, Certified Coding Specialist, and you have American Health Information Management Association, AHIMA. That's another, I guess, certification that you have in there.
Yes. So, well, no, not really. They approve all of us.
Okay. Okay.
AHIMA is who we are under.
All right. No problem. There's a lot of norms here.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. And finally, we have Hannah Moon. Now, Hannah, you're our coding coordinator. You've been in the industry for 5 years. You have an Associate of Applied Science from here at Wiregrass Georgia Technical College as well. So welcome, all of you, and thank you very much for doing this. We really believe that this is a nice interaction we can have with the students so that they can actually see professionals. So what I want to do is just ask you a series of questions, and by all means, just be as honest as you can. So to begin, not too honest, but internet honest, let's put it that way. So to begin, please explain what is health information technology and medical coding for those who may not know. What does it entail?
Well, it entails a lot of stuff. Basically, a lot of people, I guess, when you first hear about it or maybe go into the career field, you'll maybe think, oh, it's just medical records or basically just that. But it's a lot more than just the medical records. I mean, you're going to be dealing with stuff, not only medical records, but you need to know a lot of anatomy, medical terminology, pharmacology. You need to basically stay up to date on all like medical technology and new innovative things. You need to know a lot of technical stuff. You need to know a lot of legal things, a lot of the healthcare laws, and then not even just that, but say whatever facility that you're working for, whether it's a doctor's office or a hospital, nursing home, wherever, they're also going to have a lot of their own like policies and procedures, so you kind of have to familiarize yourself with that too. And not only all of that, you need to be able to communicate, pay attention to detail, just basically work as a team with others. So it's a lot of stuff in that one little HIM acronym.
Yeah.
Care to jump in? Anybody else has anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah, just more on what she said. Biggest thing is the attention to detail and being able to not do someone else's job. Even though you may know the answer, you're like, it's not my department. You got to draw a line because, again, their name is on it, not yours. Being able to research is number one thing that you would probably need to know how to do, is be able to back up what you or whatever you're researching is about. And that's all I do just about it. And it doesn't have, I mean, I code every day, but I mostly interact with doctors, and you better know what you're talking about if you're going to talk to a doctor, because they don't have time for incompetence at all. So biggest thing is being able to research your information and knowing how to govern the data that you're looking at every day.
Okay. Let me ask you this. How many times on the job are you questioned? Whether or not you've done something right or wrong.
How many hours of the job are you on?
So you're saying this is an everyday occurrence?
Oh, yes. You need to be able to know what you're doing and why you did it. In fact, I left the office just today looking at a chart that was coded, and I'm like, there's no way that's correct. And sure enough, the coder was on it. She knew exactly what she was doing. It was correctly coded with based on coding guidelines, based on coding conventions. Nailed it. But reading the chart and reading what she coded, you would be like, oh my gosh, what is she coding? You know,
right.
But it was legit. But you had to know it.
Yeah, and in coding you deal a lot with denials, and insurance companies all the time trying to deny payment for different reasons. So you really need to know like all the different edits and stuff that you can get back on coding, and know what code you can report with certain procedure codes and different stuff like that. So you really have to be up to date on like all the edits and stuff that come back from the insurance.
And of course, with the insurance, with the insurance being involved, that means there's a lot of money on the table that you guys are responsible for. If there's one mistake,
and if you get a diagnosis wrong, that can mean the difference between $3, $3,000. It just, you have to be on top of it. You have to be mindful and attentive to what you're coding, and the order you code it in.
It's very serious when there's money involved. They get very serious.
And somebody else's money at that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your career, how you got started, how long you've been working, what made you decide to come to Wiregrass and choose this career path?
I chose because Miss Jackson pulled me into her classroom and was like, you want to get into this? It's great. It's wonderful. I had no idea what it was. So I went home. I researched it. I knew I wanted to be in the medical field. Did not want to deal with blood. Did not want to deal with any of that stuff. So it just made sense. So the more I researched it, talked with her, I'm so glad she pulled me into her office that day, because I don't regret coming to this field at all. So it started with her getting in here. Mm-hmm. But then after the clinicals, internship, not sure what we called it. Yeah, that one. We were doing that. I had my 5 weeks in Smith Northview Hospital. So that was my foot in the door. While I was in there, I just networked. Got good friends with the CEO and the managers and everything. When my time was up, right after graduation, I got a phone call saying, hey, we don't have a coding position. We have an analyst position. Would you like it? Absolutely. I'd love to work my way up. And so that's kind of how I got started.
Now, you said the magic word, networking.
Yes.
When I was a student, we were told this all the time. I didn't know how to network. Now, in game design, we go to game jams, and that's where we meet developers and stuff like that. How does one network in your field? Like, do you go to a hospital and just talk to people and hang out beside the ER? Or how does that work?
No, I mean, when I was in medical records, you have to go get charts from all over the floor. So I would just let my presence be known. I would talk to Miss Wendy at the outpatient registration area. Hey, how's your day? How's it going? Started talking to the CEO. Didn't know he was a CEO, but just, hey, how are you? Just passing through the hall. And so that's just kind of how we got started. So network, I mean, as long as you can have conversations, you can network. Just talk to everybody, anybody. And then once you realize their title or anything, it's all about communication is really the key.
Okay. So don't be shy.
Even if you're not if you don't have the opportunity to be in a hospital or facility at this certain time and you need a job, you can always get a hold of the Georgia Health Information Association, which is our state chapter, where HEMA is the national chapter that we're all credentialed under. But Georgia's Health Information Association is a big source of research and resources and jobs, and you just start volunteering with them and they'll hook you up.
Mm-hmm.
They will. I am fortunate enough to be on the board of the Georgia State Association and the Coding Roundtable chairman, and so I get to interact with people every day. They're constantly emailing me about, if they're a position somewhere, how would I approach this job. And also AHEMA Engage. If you can't get out there yet, you can get on AHEMA Engage. It's an online chat room, and there is lots of information on that. If you want to get in touch with somebody that knows what's going on, just get on there and you can ask anybody. They'll answer you. It's a great source. If you can't get to a facility is great because then you got real connections. But somebody will help you out. This is one of the fun things I love about this association is they're nice people. They want you to succeed. They don't, because we need the help. We need to boost health information technology so that nurses won't take our jobs. Because not that nurses can't do their job either, but I'm just saying this is what we thrive on. This is our expertise right here is the health information world. And
so what you're saying is basically that if there's not enough coders in the field,
there is not,
then hospitals will start turning to nurses to cross-train.
Nurses will go after it because they like that 8 to 5 job too.
Okay. Yeah.
But
so they'll just take the job. They won't train the nurses to do that on top of what they already do. They'll just say,
the nurses will quickly get in there and do the jobs because they know the clinical. They know that side of the world versus getting in there with a coder that actually knows maybe more guideline-wise. And unfortunately, nurses tend to, which is, it's hard not to because it's there, it's obvious, but they tend to look at more clinical side than documentation side. Documentation is that's what drives us. That's what tells you exactly what to code. That tells you what's going on. If it's not documented, supposedly it's not happening. It's not there, is the rule of thumb. But nurses will see that there's low sodium on the chart, and they go, oh, well, there's hypernatremia. Okay, well, yeah. Well, if the doctor never says it, it wasn't there. So that's the fine line that we need to distinguish. Nurses know their mess, and they're getting in there, and they're climbing. So we need to give them some competition.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything else? Or? Good. Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Well, no. The same as Kayla, if it wasn't for Miss Jackson, I would not have gotten in this career field either. I had come to Wiregrass and I probably changed my little major I don't know how many times because, when you're young and right out of high school, you don't know what you want to do. But she was telling us basically about the HIM program, how they were getting ready to start it because Kayla and I, we were the first two that graduated from it. And she just kind of was like, oh, yeah, do this. And we were like, okay. I mean, it sounded like something that would be pretty interesting. And the same as her, I feel the same way. I do not regret it one bit. It can be a pain in the butt sometimes. I'm not going to lie, because just being in the office all day or whatever. But after I got out of school, I got my first job doing physician coding and revenue cycle management. I'll never do it again because I do not care for billing and all of that stress, but I don't regret it because it was great experience, and that's kind of what started my career and just getting my foot in the door, so to speak, even though it was a different type of experience than my ultimate end goal. And I'm able to do inpatient coding now. I've taught a few classes here. I've done auditing, and I've been able to travel out of town for my company to do coding training for other facilities and stuff like that, and it's awesome. I mean, even say 3 or 4 years ago, I never thought I would have these type of opportunities. I mean, that's just really cool. And just to think, when you're in school, it's like, oh, I'm never going to get that job, or I don't really know what I want to do. But even if you think, even just 5 years down the road, if you really network and just try really hard and, look for all those jobs and all those opportunities and just do the best that you can do, you'll be surprised at what you can do. I mean, I never would have thought I'd be able to travel to Oklahoma City and train other people on cardiology and stuff. I never thought that I'd be able to code a heart transplant or lung transplant in my sleep. I mean, it's crazy just the type of things that you can accomplish just as long as you actually make that effort and distinguish it as not a job but an actual career. It's something that you want to do for the rest of your life, and something that is more than just a paycheck, which we all like our paychecks, won't lie about that. But I mean, it's something that, it's making a difference, and it's something that you can always continuously build upon. And just, there's so many opportunities in this career field. I mean, not even just coding, but
so many.
I mean, you really can't go wrong with it. If it's something you really want to do and you put your mind to it and you make that effort, then you will achieve success, period. I mean, even if you start off doing something you don't want to do, billing, you can really get places. I mean, and we're not just saying that. We can tell you that from experience, because we've all, even been sitting in your shoes, maybe don't have that job, or we can't get the job that we want to get, but you try, and after a few years of working that little job that you didn't want to do, or that wasn't exactly the end result, I mean, you will work your way up. I promise.
Yeah, because they mostly do revenue cycle, is because their codes go on a claim. It's basically how you could look at it. I code every day as well, but my codes don't go to the claim. My codes are primarily for a backup. For instance, with CDI, the way our facility operates, I would get her chart to come back to me, and maybe or may not agree with each other. So then we have a protocol or procedure. Next would be to come together. We would discuss the case, and we would go more towards we'll discuss the case. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. But I mean, we would discuss. We'll sit there and we would not argue. I hate that. We will discuss. It sometimes feels like an argument, but it's not that we're on the same team. We're for the same facility, if you want to look at it that way. But it's like we want to work, because not only are they going after the money, we on quality side are going after reporting, because everything we report, everything you code, plays a part. You just don't. I didn't know how much it did make a difference, but everything you code gets reported somewhere. Joint Commission, PEPA reports for doctors. I mean, there's so many acronyms out there, you will go silly. Okay. But it's crazy. But when you report something, it reflects against the facility you work for. So quality is constantly monitoring these reports. And if there is too many, let's say we had a big issue with bronchoscopies, and we had too many people dying from these bronchoscopies, it's just the scope. Why are they dying? Come to find out, based on the reporting information, we were coding them wrong, because it was brand new I-10. We weren't really warm with it yet. But yeah, stuff like that. Then we get to dissect it down to why are we causing it? What's happening? What are we reporting? Why is these numbers high? Why are these numbers low? So it's not only the money that gets reported; it's the actual what the cases, the individual cases, and you can get on that side of it as well. It's the research, the digging in the chart to find out exactly what's going on. Coders sometimes are strictly productivity. Okay, most of the time you're strictly productivity, and if you don't get these charts out, then you get dinged. Well, with quality, we get to go in there and dissect it even more than they do. So that way, if there was just something they missed, there was an MCC on a chart that they didn't get, that's an opportunity for more money there. But if there's an MCC that they caught that wasn't actually documented the way it should have been to get it, then we may have to recode it, rebill it, and actually give money back. But eventually, you're going to always give money back at some point or another. But it's the whole big look of it that's just, there's so many avenues you can go with this degree. It's just crazy. I mean, and now now data governance is just shot off the charts about, because now there's IT associated with your RHIT degree. There's actual IT parts to it, so that you can get in there and you do all the creating of the templates to the chart, and it goes on and on. I could keep going, but I'll stop. But I'm just saying, there's so many places you can go. But with the RHIT degree, you're not limited with just coding. I just don't want anybody to think you have to code for the rest of your life, because I personally, I didn't like somebody standing over me going, code another chart, code another chart. I don't want to code another chart. I want to go home. But I mean, it was just, they pushed that. But that's how the place makes the money. But if you can throw the charts out there, then you go with it. But But yeah, there's just a lot of places you can go with this. It blows my mind every day that I get to do what I do, and I actually like it, and that's the good thing.
They do that to us too. Teach another class.
Right?
Let's talk about licenses. Licenses and certifications. Now, I know with medical industry, it's huge. Just explain the different licenses that you get, where you get it, where you obtain it, what tests you take, and so on. Oh, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. AHIMA is the government is our main credentialing people. They and they're the most popular as well. There's also AAPC that will credential you as well. But AHIMA seems to be the most leading, most popular, most, what's the word I'm looking for? Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, recognized credentialing body out there. AHIMA offers for the degrees, there is the RHIT, which is the associates that you can get here. And then you can move on up to the RHIA, which is more management associated stuff. And I don't even know what it stands for. Administrator?
Yeah.
Administrator. Okay, so then after that, which is your prerequisite, of course, is having to go to a CAHIM approved or credentialed program. All right, so then after that, then you can do your individual certifications, which are your coding, which is your CCA, which is just the beginning level. It's a great stepping stone. It will get you a credential, so people who at facilities that want to hire credentialed coders, there, you got a credential. Then you got your CCS, which is, I guess we all have that now? Okay, so that means you are familiar with every modality of coding, as far as inpatient, outpatient, cardiovascular. You should be able to code everything out there. And believe me, there's all kinds of things you can code. And I mean, there's anything from oncology to, and if you're gutsy enough, there's interventional radiology, which is, there's only, I think, maybe 2 or 3 in the state.
It ain't me.
There's a few, but it's a whole other ball game as well. But it's another world. But now, but that's with AAPC, which is another body of credentialing. But the biggest thing is get the letters behind your name, because if you got alphabet soup going on, you can get to a job.
And that's really the only way, to be honest, to even get hired nowadays. Yeah. And if you want the money, there's pay increases with each certification or credential that you can obtain. So
absolutely. A lot of times too, like they were saying, I'm just going to base it more on the hospital side, just because that's pretty much what I've done most of the time. But a lot of places will not hire you unless you have some sort of credential. I mean, of course, your education is good. Like, get as high education as you can. That's something nobody can ever take away from you, and you work hard for that. But you always want to pursue those credentials too. I mean, whatever side of HIM you want to get in, whether it is billing or coding or CDI or whatever. But you want to look for those credentials and do your best to get those, because a lot of times those are going to be prerequisites for your jobs and stuff. So if you don't have those credentials, I mean, even say you had some experience, well, they probably won't hire you just because they're still looking for those credentials. So, I mean, AHIMA will definitely be, your number one place you want to go to find those. Like your RHIT, like they said, you have to have your associate's degree for that. The other ones, the CCA, CCS, et cetera, you don't have to have a degree for it, but a lot of times they recommend having a certain amount of coding experience, so you'll probably bomb the test. I mean, maybe not, but I know I would definitely recommend coding for a while before you even try to pursue those ones, because those tests are no joke. Like, they're legit, okay? But those credentials are definitely really important for sure.
One thing I do want to remind everyone is Wiregrass is one of 2 schools in South Georgia that's actually accredited to teach the medical coding program here. So you chose well. Because trust me, it's one thing I've learned, if a school is not accredited, your degree is worthless. So it's very, very important. Hannah, you'll take this next one.
Okay.
Challenges coming out of school. Other than I need a job. What challenges did you face even when you first got the job? What problems that you might have had?
Some of the main challenges, I guess, for me was learning the encoder. I don't know if y'all ever have an encoder, know the Orpheus at all. In school, I used just the books. That's all I used.
Yeah.
And I was comfortable with the books, and then starting to work at Southfield Medical Center, they had the encoder. And it is a lot faster to use the encoder, and all the references are there. I was just not familiar with it, so that slowed me down a little bit, using just the books and not being familiar with the encoder. So that was kind of a challenge. Just really, once I got into real charts and reading those, you realize how different they are than the charts you're given, on your test. Because in school, you're given like a little paragraph, and it says, okay, this patient came in with this, they had this procedure, and it just straight out tells you why the patient's here, and you find the code for it. It's like, oh, okay, that was fun. It's not like that at all in the real world. You really start reading charts, and we actually still have some handwritten charts, believe it or not. So you still have to read handwriting on some of them, and all that, you don't see that in school. And then once you get in there and really start coding charts, you see all the documentation. It's not all in a neat little paragraph for you. You have to dig to find, why is this patient really here? It's not just written out and given to you, like it is in school. So that was probably the biggest challenge, just really actually getting into real cases and figuring out, okay, it's not just all typed up real pretty for me. I've got to dig and really find out why the patient's here, And a lot of times it's not clear. Why, especially on inpatient accounts, it's not clear. The patient has 5 different problems. And reimbursement is based on that. A lot of the reimbursement is based on that principal diagnosis as why this patient is really here. They could have 5 different things. They have these 3 different procedures. So you really got to, like I said, research and just dig around to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then another thing is, I work at SGMC with Hannah, and we have so many different systems and programs on the computer that, like, we have dual screens, and both screens are covered in, we got the 3M encoder, then we've got McKesson, which is where the charts are. I specialize in oncology, so I have another program just for the oncology accounts, and you're constantly having to click on all these different ones on top of maintaining your emails and clicking on Outlook, and it's just it was overwhelming at first. Like I would dream, like, okay, which one do I need to open? It was just very overwhelming. And then learning the physician handwriting, Lord.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a different story.
Actually, by the time y'all get out, y'all won't have to even worry about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But another thing is, like what Hannah was saying, it's all in a pretty package in the book. Then there's a query. And, oh, heaven help us all. Then you got to know how to write a query. You have to know, why am I querying? And is it even worth the query? Because it's going to hold up a bill. And then you get the query, and the doctor answers it with one word. You're like, that's not even the question I asked. And so then it's a whole other, querying has become another pet peeve of mine. Oh my gosh. So yeah, the package that you're given in the book is just not the world that you read every day. Now, sometimes you have these good doctors that hopefully I have trained with CDI, and that they are educated and they know exactly how to specify acute diastolic heart failure perfectly. But then you don't have those. They're just going to say congestive heart failure, and you're on your own. But
and that's the difference between a lot of money.
And yeah, that's huge. I mean, oh my goodness, it's huge. So you have to know what's missing, even though the information is not even there. I mean, you have to realize that, okay, we need more specificity here. We gave them, Rocephin. Why? We do not even have an infection documented anywhere. Why do we give this patient Rocephin? Then anyway, it goes on from there. So yeah, what you will not see is what's not there. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's basically the truth. You have to know what's missing. And a lot of times you have to memorize, you have to know what report you're getting information from. Can you even code from that department? Can you code from that report? Is it done by, provider or not? Is it nurses' notes? Well, the nurses are talking about this. The doctor never mentioned that. So it's a plethora of stuff. Plenty to look at. But once you get in there and you do find the answer, gosh, it's a good feeling. You go home all day feeling good. Yeah, write that check. It'll be good.
It sounds like that it's beyond just a series of tasks that you check off at the end of the day, which I would say is the difference between a job and a career.
Yes.
Because a job is really tasks, whereas a career,
yeah.
It goes beyond that.
Then not only, like Kayla said, you have all these different screens that you're having to go through and open and doing this. Then at the end of the day, you need to be able to prove what you accomplished that day. Whereas if you've got 15 charts coded, where there's your productivity. In some departments, you may not have that. option. You have to keep it with your productivity on your own, because some days you may spend 3 hours doing education. So you need to document that. That's why I was at coding. That's why only on an average day you should drop, well, it depends on what you're coding. But for outpatients, the average, I think, is 28 charts an hour for outpatient tickets, I think.
Depending on what type of outpatient.
Yeah, and so if you only coded 15, because like I said, 4 hours of the day you were doing education, you need to be able to back yourself up. So keep a tally of everything you're doing if you get into coding, because productivity is all about knowing what you're doing and backing it up. So, like, I know why I didn't do that many. I was because of this, and then you're good. But if it just looks like you're not doing your job, then you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to open up this next question to any of y'all. So y'all just jump in, mainly because every single one of you have different titles, which means you have different salaries. This is the favorite question of most students. Salary. How much money? Where's my money? How much am I going to get?
show me that.
So what are the salary expectations of new graduates coming out of school and then 10 years from now?
Kind of dismal right at first. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I won't sugarcoat it. You're not going to make that much money. I mean, I'll throw out some numbers. I don't mind. So my very first job doing the revenue cycle and billing, I started off at, I think it was $10 an hour. Well, that's barely going to pay your car payment, in my opinion. But you got to start somewhere, right? Well, when I left there, I was making $13 an hour, a little bit better, still not that great. Then whenever I went to SGMC, I took a really big pay cut. What were we making, like 9-something an hour?
Like $9.36 or something was the trainee position.
It was not very good.
Yeah, I think all of us took a pay cut.
Yeah, big pay cut. So like 9-something an hour. And then, after a little while, once we got up to Coder 1, at that time, we got a little bit of a pay increase, but I don't even think it was a whole dollar, honestly. I think it was like less than $1. So, and then also there at that time, if you got your CCS, it was only like a 30-something cent increase. I mean, so a lot of times working on site at a hospital, you're going to make way less money than you do if you work remotely, because working from home, I make $30 an hour, and that is not including all of our bonuses that we get if we meet our production, if we meet our accuracy, or just for whatever else. And people even make more money than that. So let's say that you're maybe doing an auditing position, or even like more of management and stuff like that, you'll make more than that too. So, I mean, there's a really big variety. Like, if you work outpatient and billing, you will probably have the lowest salary. Then if you go to like the hospital side and want to get more into inpatient coding and whatnot, I mean, just talking about coding, because that's what I've basically been in my whole career, that's where you're going to make your money from. And then, of course, if you decide to go into management and administration and stuff like that, then, of course, your salary will be bumped up some too. So there's a really big variety, and it depends on the area that you're into. Some regions will pay more than others. Some specialties will pay more than others. Some companies will pay more than others. So, I mean, you can have basically right around minimum wage, I guess, or a little bit more than minimum wage, to something that you're like, wow, I never thought that I would make that kind of money. So there's a big gap.
And with more money, if you do go to management, you have to remember, then you're most likely going to be salaried. If you are salaried, that means you're pretty much never off the job. So you could be getting phone calls in the middle of the night if you have night shift people that work, you never know how your schedule may be, depending on what you're working in. If you're doing prep scan or indexing, those charts have to be putting in every day, all the time. So you may have a night shift. So if you're a manager of that over those people, they're going to be, if they have to leave, they have a sick kid, if they're sick, then you got to be able to take up with that, because at the end of the day, you're responsible. So you need to be willing to accept that responsibility and be okay with taking those phone calls at 11 o'clock at night or whenever they may be. And I mean, because I've thought about it. I'm not ready to do that. I don't want to go. When I leave the job, because I work at the hospital, CDI, there's a lot of remote coding. Obviously, you can code from home. When I leave the hospital, I'm done. I don't want to think about it, because I got a whole other job at the house. I don't want to think about it again until I go back the next morning. And so you have to be able to be willing to accept that or not. If you want to go home and code, that's great. And it's great. Well, for y'all, if I go home and code, all I'm looking at, because I've done it, I've coded from the house, and all I see is the fact that I need to sweep my floors. Or let me just put there's one more load of clothes to wash, and then I ain't got to think about that again. But no, there's a code that, and then when you're off the clock, then you walk by your office every day, you're like, there's one more chart that could be coded. I could be coding a chart right now. I could be doing this right now. So to me, that was the tug of war I had, because I worked from home before. I've done a few things at the house coding, just not my cup of tea. I'd rather go home and just go home, and then go to work, and then go to work. And then there's also the, conversations you can have with people every day. You may not get that at home unless you're emailing or you call somebody on the phone. So there's just things to think about. You may not want. You just got to think about it. I'm not saying you may not want it. I'm sure from lots of my friends, they love it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's great. But I'm just, in my world right now, I just can't take that. I'd just rather go to the house and sit on the sofa and not have to think about it again until the next day. So those are things you can think about, especially with management too. If you get more money, you're always working.
Yeah, you better be ready to work.
Yeah.
I did Google that though, because I was curious. And I saw in Atlanta, the average is about $18.36, if my mind is right. But it's saying it can range anywhere from $7. Luckily, we weren't that off. Up to $31 within, I don't know if that was just starting out or
Just a range.
with years of experience, but the range was between 7 and 31, if that's not too broad. So,
Yeah.
It was $7 an hour in Atlanta.
it was the range. And again, like she said, if you're just starting out, if you're in billing, of course you're going to get the lower income. But
the facilities, I think, from the way I'm looking at it, they don't want to have to pay because they're trying to keep their overhead down. So they don't want to get these educated people in there because obviously they're going to be expected to pay them more. So they just get somebody off the street, or I'm not saying they're off the street, but they just get somebody in there and train them on the job, and then there you go. Well, then they've trained them, so they shouldn't have to put that much money into them because they're doing the training. So they're the ones that are taking the risk. So they try to reduce their overhead. So that's another reason why we need to push this program, is because they don't realize the money that they could save by having someone in there that's educated, that knows the edits, that knows the medical necessity that's not getting met. And that's a whole other ballgame all by itself. And so if you get in there with the education, then we can really help these hospitals out. They just don't know. They need to come talk to us. And we can explain all this to them. But yeah, there's just the money is not there yet, but it can be with education.
Right.
yeah,
On everybody's part.
It's funny because what you're saying is it happens at a lot of places, at least in my career that I've seen,
Right.
where rather than hire someone who's properly trained for the job, you go pull,
Exactly.
A lot of it's what they'll call cronyism,
Yeah.
which you bring in your friends and that kind of thing. And so I've seen that a lot. It's funny you say that. Again, this is open to everybody. Best practices. What do you need to train yourself to do in order to not just like the book work or anything, but like study habits or something like that to really succeed in this field? What's a best practice that you see?
Details.
Yeah.
Pay attention to details, because regardless of what you're doing, coding, CDI, whatever, you need to know what's going on, because there could be some little spot somewhere in that chart that could be a really big difference, and you're behind, will be in trouble if you do not pick that up, kind of thing, because it affects just so much. So be very, very detail oriented, and we all get tired. There's times I'm sick of reading a chart after 6 hours, some really high dollar chart that takes you all day to do. But, if you got to step away from it for a few minutes, have a cup of coffee, a snack, just stretch, but you really got to pay attention to those details. I mean, like we were talking about, like with the classwork, that's easy stuff. I mean, that's nothing compared to what you actually see in the real world. So just, you'll have to train yourself to really read and just to really be, not even detail too, but like analyzing stuff, just really paying attention and being able to pick stuff apart and put it together and just kind of think about the big picture. That would probably be my biggest thing, I would say, is just details and being able to just analyze and think about stuff that way.
I would also say do not get complacent or comfortable, because it's ever changing. There's
Yeah.
things changing all the time, constantly. And then ICD-10, whoa.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's beneficial. I actually love
I love
ICD-10.
it. I love ICD-10.
like
it. Yeah.
And I learned and trained with I9, and ICD-10 to me has actually been easier.
It was easy.
Because it's so much more specific, because there's like no questions asked. I know that's the right code. But with ICD-9, you're like, well, is it? I don't know.
Yeah. It's a lot of gray area.
Yeah. And I was going to say, too, do you think you may know something, like by the back of your hand? Like, for instance, the coding guidelines. Read them every month. Reread them. And I'm not playing. I reread them a couple of weeks ago and actually made a game out of it because I was doing something for the class. But anyway, and there was some things in there I'm going, oh my gosh, I code that way and that's wrong. Especially when they deleted the coding the symptom first one.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
we've been coding this wrong all this time. Does anybody else know this?
Yeah.
So I mentioned it to my boss, and we talked about it at a QDI meeting, and which is quality documentation improvement, anyway. And a lot of the coders was not aware of that. That you don't code the symptom anymore, followed by the definitive diagnosis. Now you code just the definitive diagnosis. That was new, but if you don't reread these coding guidelines every day, there's going to be things in there you miss. Now that they associate hypertension with congestive heart failure automatically now, unless documented otherwise. Well, I would come across a case just a couple of weeks ago. The doctor documented it that was linked to cardiomyopathy and not hypertension. So, bam, there you go. You don't code it first. And I was about to write her up. I was fixing to have me a good day. But no, she was right. So, I mean, you can't, because we have to write up these things every day anyway. And so, I mean, you just need to read the coding guidelines because there's always something in there, especially once you get out there. Because I know when I read the coding guidelines in work and school, I'm going, what are they talking about? I have no idea what they're even talking about because you've never seen a chart, so you wouldn't. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. But once you get out there and you do the coding and you research the information, and then you go back and you read, you're like, oh. It kind of starts making sense then, and and it actually tells you code this instead of this when this is present. You're like, oh, thank God, you got to think it through. So, I mean, that kind of stuff is just neat because you never stop learning in this field. Well, I guess that's life, but still, there's always an opportunity. So, always go in there acting like you don't know, but then be prepared to learn something. Be prepared to learn anything at any time. So that would be one of the best practices. Just always be prepared.
Yeah, like I said, always learn, and I just realized you're going to study more after you graduate.
Yeah.
Lord,
I
yes.
studied a lot when I was taking the coding classes, but no. Once you start working in coding, or you research and you learn and study a lot more than you did in school.
But you get paid to do it now, so it's a
Yeah,
little bit different. That makes it easier. I don't mind reading an article or two from a HEMA now. So.
Yeah, getting paid makes
And you got to keep your CEUs up anyway, so you might as well read something and learn something.
This next question is when I say workplace hazards. My mother-in-law is a nurse, and she's told me some stories about run-ins with doctors before.
Okay.
They're probably true.
Yeah. So, that when I talk about hazard, I'm not talking about, there's a forklift, watch out. But just any kind of stories that you have. What are some workplace hazards that they need to be aware of that they may run into when they come into the field?
Well, I have one. I had perfect vision when I started working. Now I have to have glasses. Staring at a computer every day for 5 years. It's like, and then 5 years later, then my eyes were gone. So just be prepared for that. If you're not used to staring at a computer, you stare at a computer every day, 8 hours a day.
And they have now associated sitting at a desk the new smoking, so walk the stairs. Yes. Do what you can do, because you're looking at good 8, 9 hours, maybe even 10 hours on your schedule. Because I know Tifton, our coders are now going 10 days, and they take off on Fridays. So they do 4 10-hour days. So
I could do that.
So just make sure if you're sitting, I personally, I get up often during the day. I'm not distracted by other stuff, but just from sitting there, your back's going to start hurting, your legs are going to be uncomfortable, You're going to want to move your arms around because you don't want to get that carpal tunnel.
I got a yoga ball.
Yeah, exactly. So seriously, I mean, make sure, you're getting up at least every hour, 2 hours, just even if it's just a walk back and forth through the office, just move around, stretch a little bit. Even just, looking away from that computer because like Hannah said, just that it can affect your vision, just tension headaches and stuff from staring at that screen, reading these little things. So, I mean, as far as physical things, those are definitely the big ones you kind of want to look out for and just try to combat that with, the proper office hygiene of moving around, getting up and looking away.
I just had a scare. I accepted a phishing email because they scammed me and they made it look like it was coming from Outlook, asking me to update my password. And they supposedly mock our emails at the work, saying that this is not from TIF Regional. Well, you see that every day, all day long, on several emails. It becomes a blur. You just don't even see it anymore, and you just block it out. And so I just didn't even see it. I responded back. I said, I can't log in. It won't accept my password. And immediately, IT contacted me and said, you just fell for it. You got scammed. I'm like, oh gosh. Just change your password right now. And I said, okay. So luckily they called it. They had safeguards up, but you need to be wary of hacking every day. Because I mean, that's just. I wasn't the only one, thank goodness, but it still made me feel really stupid. But it can happen to everybody. So
yeah, the hacking it's everywhere.
Everywhere,
no matter what career field you're in,
right.
If you're on a computer. And one of the things that because teaching game design, we stare at computers for 16 hours a day almost. One of the things that we have used is I've got anti-glare spray on these glasses, so it doesn't glare off the monitor. That actually helps a lot. It reduces headaches. There's these computer glasses that you can wear. They're orange. Unfortunately, they make you look like Bono from U2, but they do work, and you can wear them. They're just a little funky looking, but exactly. What is your typical work day like? Now, some of you two work from home, right? And then do you two
on site?
On site, okay. So, what is the typical work day that you may come into?
I have a set schedule. That's how I've always, even like with working from home the whole time and other companies I've been with, I've always had a set schedule. My company is very, very flexible with letting us set what hours we want to work. Like, for example, I work 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., so that way I can get off for the afternoon if I have appointments, if I want to go to the gym, if I want to do whatever, then I have my whole afternoon free. Stinks getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I would rather get up early and be off early. So, I mean, I work your typical 8-hour day, 5 days a week, but, I do have the set schedule, and it's like, of course, let them know ahead of time if you need to take off. If you get sick, you call in or email, the normal way you would, make up time if you can. So, I mean, for me anyway, my schedule is basically the same as if I worked on site at a hospital. I still have to follow, all that proper etiquette of, being a good employee and being timely and making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do and stuff like that. So.
And then, I mean, like her, I don't know why you get up an hour early to work from home. I roll out of bed at 5:45 and I'm clocked in by 6 in my pajamas.
Oh no!
And I have my coffee on a timer.
You're still on too, but I mean, to wake up, gotta feed the dogs, and
but it works out, like she said, it works out so great to work from home. I don't know how you do it because I have 2 young kids. I don't know. I have 2 young kids, so it's perfect because, like I said, I roll out of bed by 5:45. Clock in 6 o'clock. I'm checking my emails, checking my hold list. My hold list basically is all the accounts that cannot be coded because the physicians have not dictated have their dictations in the system. If I need a diagnosis, it doesn't have a diagnosis that I can code for. So I'm checking all those and then working and everything. But it works because I'm in at 6, I'm out at 2:30 just in time to go get my kids from school and daycare. So it's just the flexibility is, I mean, you have to work your set hours. It's not like you can clock in whenever you want throughout the day. But it's just, it's wonderful that they work with you like that.
Discipline?
Yeah. So much discipline. It took a while to begin, especially, I have ADD, like I'm legit, I have medicine. So it took a long time to kind of get used to it. But like you said with the laundry thing, I'm in the summer, I shut the doors, out of sight, out of mind, get to work. Like I know.
I imagine it's quite difficult because I got to work and Facebook. And it just really, I probably, Again.
Yeah, well, what you do is you put your music on your phone, so you can't do anything else on
Right.
it. So.
Now, I imagine there's a lot of them out there that they probably want to do what you guys do. Let me just stress, though, so listen to what you guys said. You work your way up to that, correct?
Yes.
That you don't usually walk
You have
into.
to be a coder for
Yeah.
2 years before they move you home.
Yeah, you
within
have
a
to get that experience. You're not, I mean, unless it's some crazy act of God kind of thing, you are not going to get that job working from home right away. If you do, then wow, that's crazy. Good for you. But you're going to really need to get that on-site experience, because most people are not going to look at you or give you a chance to work from home until you can prove to them that you are even reliable and knowledgeable enough in a work setting, because it takes a lot more discipline and I feel like skill and just knowing your stuff to be able to work from home, because they're going to really be scrutinizing you even more and looking at you and making sure, well, okay, does this guy or girl know what they're doing? Do they know their coding guidelines? I mean, can they manage their time properly? Because sometimes, it can take some time to get used to working from home. I didn't really have a problem with it. I don't know why. I was so ready to work from home, so I'm like, so I don't, care what else is going on. I'll tell my husband, well, you better not schedule any maintenance people to come here, because I'm not going to that door, and I won't.
But also with that, it does take a ton of discipline on our part. But it makes it easy for me to be disciplined, to know that the facility, the company has that trust in me to be able to fulfill that work. So it's easier. It does take some getting used to, but it's easy once you look at the outcome.
Okay.
Exactly, because it just shows you're responsible. And I mean, if you take it seriously and you want to do good, obviously you're being responsible with it. So,
Workplace hazards?
Doctors, maybe. With CDI, your main focus is educating the doctor so that he knows or she knows exactly how they need to document what we're after, specification. So working from home and actually having a relationship with doctors it can work, and it may eventually get that way at Tifton. As of right now, they're not looking like it's going to, which again, I'm okay with my world right now. And so, because I like going to work. I don't know, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
So that being said, I get to have those relationships with the doctors, and you've got those doctors and you got good ones that you really like talking to. And so I've had several issues with doctors that, why are you asking me these questions? And I'm like, because the hospital has to get paid. Do you want to check? I want to check. So let's get paid. So as far as that's concerned, I guess they would be my biggest thing. And having, I guess, the confidence to go to them and go, look, here's a situation on this patient. Now most facilities own their doctors, so they know they have to abide by the rules or they won't get paid themselves. Before, it was more of I'm doing you a favor by actually bringing patients to your hospital attitude. So, you kind of had to skirt around them a little bit, and there's still those out there anyway. But you just got to be able to approach them in a professional way so they don't think you're, I don't know what the word I can't talk today. I read all day long. I don't talk. You have to know how to approach them and be professional with it. And you just can't, it's not a free clinic. Don't go up and ask them, I have a cough. What should I take? Don't do that. I've seen that. I'm like, and don't do that. What are you doing? Oh, it was just ridiculous. But,
And since you two work on-site, what does y'all's typical workday entail?
I get there at 8:30 after I drop the kids off. I have a 45-minute commute, which is taxing, I know, but still. I go to work. I'm there from 8:30 to 5. And I get my charts done. With CDI, we review charts all day. I have to meet 100. Our percentage right now is to cover 85%. This month I'm at 90. Yay, Stephanie! So excited. But so there's that. I have to review all my floors that I'm assigned to. CDI, we use another software to look into, and we look at that one while we're looking at the chart. The patients that I look at are actually at the hospital. That's the difference between what we do, I would say, because they're already gone by the time the coders get it. So we try to catch the issues before they leave the hospital so that it's fresh on the doctor's mind. In fact, this morning I called a doctor and I told her, I said, look, you documented acute respiratory failure on the second day of admission, which was the day of admission was the day before, and there was no documentation. Actually, the patient was on 3 liters, but there was no documentation of that condition. So I told her, she says, well, I don't think the patient was in respiratory failure when I started taking care of her. I said, okay, well, if you could verify that, clarify that on the chart, that would be great. So tomorrow I will be checking, because I've already wrote the query. I'm going to present it to her if it's not there. So that would be my day. And then I come here today.
All right. Well, for me, I work 7 to 3:30. I love getting off early, and then I feel like I have like half a day or something to be able to do whatever I want to do. But I'm the coding coordinator. I'm also called coding supervisor. It's like the interchangeable, same thing. I supervise. We have like 25 coders. About half of those are SGMC employees. About half of those are contract coders, because we're not fully staffed this time. So we do have a contract company that codes for us. And the contract coders, they are all obviously remote. And then about half of the SGMC coders work from home. So I supervise those. So I do a lot of auditing, answering questions and research and stuff, working with the coders. I work with CDI a lot, like Stephanie does. With CDI. We have a CDI program at South Georgia. So the nurses are constantly reviewing charts, and they review a lot of patients in-house. So they'll give me a heads up, hey, it looks like this patient has this diagnosis, but, the clinical indicators aren't really there. We need to watch this. And they'll give me a heads up. And they might go ahead and query, or they might say, hey, watch this. If this doesn't get documented, the coder will need to query. So I kind of a go-between between the coder and the CDI nurse to make sure that everything gets captured correctly. So I work with quality and CDI and a lot of different departments at the hospital. I do some charge auditing. Our department doesn't do any charging, but when we code a procedure, we have to make sure that the charges match up. If the department, like the GI lab, has charged for a certain procedure, and then we code a different procedure, then obviously that's not going to go out the door. It's never going to get billed. So we do a lot of I do a lot of charge auditing to make sure that what the department has charged is matching what we have coded. So I deal with nurses and physicians from all different departments, making sure we've captured everything correctly and everything's charged correctly. And I work with IT a lot. There's different departments like quality that they run different reports. They want to know, okay, how many patients came in with the MI, what physicians treated them, and there's all kinds of reports that they have to run for quality and different things. So I work with IT a lot, running those reports. And denials, I mentioned that earlier. That's a big part of my job. Insurance, oh my goodness, they try not to pay for anything. They'll send us back. No, their clinical indicators weren't there. The physician can document something. I'm talking about all through the chart. Sepsis, 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 sepsis. This patient has sepsis. So, okay, we code sepsis. But then the insurance company is going to look at it and say, oh, their fever wasn't high enough. They didn't have sepsis. So they'll deny that entire chart. So then we've got to go through, okay, well, maybe they didn't have a high fever, but look at their white blood cell count. Look at this.
Gotta have 3.
Yeah, look at their respiratory rate. So we're all the time asked, like months and months after patients going, after we've coded this chart, it's coming back because it's being denied. And we've got to dig through it, and we've got to find stuff to try to argue basically with the insurance company. This is correct. This is why we coded this way. The physician documented it. This is what supports that diagnosis. So denials is a big part, and edits come back from billing all the time. CPT codes, you'll learn. You can't report these 2 CPT codes together. You're either going to have to add a modifier to one of them, or else you're going to have to delete one of the CPT codes. There's all kinds of edits that come back. So just all of that's pretty much my day. Very busy, but I love it. That's something I love. They were talking earlier about Miss Susan Jackson pulled them into the program, and it was pretty much the same with me. I was starting in nursing, and I was like, I love medical stuff. I knew I love medical stuff. I was like, I don't really want to deal with patients, And the program was starting. I was right behind Kayla and Jennifer. I was like, I graduated 6 months behind them, and Miss Susan told me about the program. I was like, you need to start this, and so I have her to thank for it. But,
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, seriously, thank you.
But I love my job. Just while we're talking about day-to-day stuff, I didn't want a job where I had to sit there and look at the clock, like, how many hours do I have left to go? That to me, like, if I want to spend 40 hours somewhere, like, I want to love it, And I really do. I mean, I look at the clock like, man, it's 3:30, I have to leave. Like, I do.
Them charts will suck you in quick.
They do.
Oh, they suck you in.
You say you do 7 to 3. Are there other time slots that people may get hired to do? Like, is there a 10 to 6 or something like that, or is it?
We pretty much let the coders select what they want. Once they pick it, they have to stick with it. They can't, they can't come in at 8 one day and 3 in the
Gotcha.
afternoon the other day. You know?
All right.
But there are some that start like 6 o'clock. Like Kayla starts at 6 o'clock. She chooses 6 to 2:30. That's what she's chosen. There's some who they drop their kids off so they can't get there until 8:30. So they choose like 8:30 to 5. So we're flexible.
So it's very malleable to whoever's.
Very.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're really good about working with us too. So
Very good.
it works out great.
All right.
As long as you get your 8 hours in, they don't. Most people don't really care. That's how I would look at it. There's some that get really petty, and then I just wouldn't work for them people.
Now you do say 8 hours, but if your salary overtime is there,
Well, you say that.
well, if your salary you don't get overtime pay, it's just
Well,
salary
that's
people
something
just.
that I thought that was true too. Because to me, I'm thinking they actually just recently switched us from salary to time or hourly, I should say. And I never understood the phrase. Well, if it's overtime, it really doesn't matter. And I'm thinking, okay, that's true. But if I left here before 5 o'clock, everyone would have something to say about that.
Right.
So it depends on where you work.
Okay.
I've noticed that. No, I don't mind if you work late. Late, yeah, sure. But don't you dare leave here before 3 o'clock.
Right.
Even though your job is done. So
Okay.
that's just my personal opinion. Don't take that for granted.
All right. Well, I am done. So our next step is to invite the students to ask a question. So if any of you have a question that you would like to ask them, just walk up to the mic there and ask away, and they hopefully will answer.
Hopefully.
Don't be shy. It's okay. We're just streaming to about 1 million people. So.
That's it.
We don't buy it from.
We have to walk up there.
Yeah, we got to get you on mic. Yeah.
I'll just ask that.
Well, go ahead and ask.
I don't know. I was just going to say, is there any tips you would give us going into our test? Like any study materials that you guys got offline or anything that would be beneficial once we get certified?
A bunch of AHEMA, a bunch of, learn all your acronyms. There's
Oh
a
my
lot
gosh.
of them, but they're all on there.
Put a trick to it. I remember, was it Onyx?
Oh.
For an Oasis is home health. Isn't it
Yeah.
home health or nursing home?
Don't ask me.
Oh,
I took my test years ago.
That's done. We didn't forget that. Learn your data sets. That's the main. What you report with. Every hospital has those. The HUD is it HS? The HUDs, not HUDs. HUDDS, I believe is, or UHDDS or something.
UH.
Thank you. See,
Yeah.
it's in your guidelines. Learn all the acronyms for those data sets because they question. I think every other question I felt like was on the data.
Did y'all like buy like study books maybe off of Amazon or anything like that? Like
Yeah.
I didn't.
AHEMA likes their stuff.
So you can get those like online.
Yes, but just make sure that the test is appropriate to what you're getting.
Exactly.
Right
Yeah.
now, I think the RHIT is still on 2016. It hasn't gotten the fiscal year 2017 yet, but that may change. So check AHEMA's website to validate that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
but
would-
definitely get a prep.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes they'll be more expensive, but if you stick with some of the HEMA, or if you go with other places like AAPC, I have my RHIT CCF and my CPC with AAPC. So either one of those organizations,
LMNOP.
whichever way you're wanting to go with, you can still find some good study guides that aren't made by those organizations.
Yeah.
Because life isn't about just those organizations.
It's
you know?
not, and
Yeah.
she's right.
But that way they're going to have like the stuff that's going to be tested.
Right,
over.
that's
You
what
can be
a
sure.
supervisor told me, and I thought was just like, well, duh. It was AHEMA wrote the test, so I would. It's not. Why wouldn't you study AHEMA's
Exactly.
prep class? I mean, that just makes.
But you could probably find some HEMA stuff on Amazon too.
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
I probably have before. I mean, if you want to try to find a few dollars cheaper, but
Yeah.
definitely try to stick with, the
Yeah.
accrediting organization that you're testing with as far as
Right.
materials, just because it's not going to lead you astray versus some random Joe Schmo study
Right.
guide or something.
And then you can always check AHEMA's for the most recently credentialed people. Ask them for their prep book. They'll sell it because they don't need it.
Yeah, and I found most helpful for me with the class. There was a workbook that came with the coding book for the RHIT. I found that my test actually had a lot of those questions. It was a book with a starfish on it. This was 6 years ago. So
I remember which one.
Don't
you're
remember
talking
yeah,
about. The starfish book.
The diploma aspect, not the degree. So like.
Oh, same thing.
yeah.
So I just
You're going for the RHIT
No, she's the
credential or the
diploma.
Oh, okay.
They have a whole other ball game now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
They offer now.
all I know is the workbooks did wonders.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I thought was cool was the workbooks or the prep books would give you references.
Yes.
Of why why that answer's that answer. Then you go, and especially with it was John's book for us. Then I don't know if it's John's book with y'all still, but they would reference the John's book. So then you go and read the John's book as far as
Get a better understanding.
yeah. Then you just keep reading and you realize it's been 2 hours and you're reading the same question. But that's beside the point. But you just get caught. Yeah, go reference it, find out why it's coded, why that's the answer, and then that way it'll stick more in your head. And write the questions. I mean, I gave myself 6 weeks, and I went through every test that they had. That's how long I prepped. But see, now I was different. We were a part of the first class. The accreditation didn't happen until 6 months after we graduated. I personally was not I couldn't sit at that time when we got accredited. Okay, so I ended up waiting another year. But I was about to have my first child. I said, I'm not having this baby without this credential behind my name. So I don't know why. It's just mentally for me. And so for 6 weeks I studied, but I was working, so I was in the field already. So it wasn't like I had to refresh everything, but it was just all those little credentials.
And that helped me being in the field.
Yes, it does. It helps you because that way you're actually out there learning the coding clinics, reading the coding clinics. You know
what's actually going on.
Yeah, what's on the chart. And then plus two, what pushed me as well was I wanted to get it all done before I-10 got in there because I knew I-9
and that was my push. I didn't get I didn't get my RHIT until 2010 was coming, and everything that I knew and I learned studying everything was about to go out the door. I was like, all right, I guess I'll get it now.
Yeah, my CCS I took the week before they took it off. And I was hoping they weren't going to take, there was
Oh, and there was like a big breach going on.
Yeah, there was
somebody found the answers, and they had to cut all testing.
I thought that was a little bit of a joke because I'm thinking every question was the same. It was just another way of writing it. So I'm thinking, how could they have had the answers? But I don't know. I wasn't there. So there's always, it's a money game, but play the game and you'll get paid. Yeah. I mean, let's just call it like it is. But it's fun because I enjoy it. But
get you a T-shirt there.
You dang
play
straight.
The game.
You got it right. That's right. Play the game and you'll get your paid. So.
Any other students?
When you get out of school, when we're done with school, we taking our test, and we're got that first little glitch in our pocket. What's the first thing you want to do?
Network.
Code. And network.
Code.
Network, yes, sure.
Yeah.
But what do you mean by glitch?
Where once we've got everything behind us as far as school,
okay,
all your exams, all your certifications for the course and everything itself, then the next step would be what do we want to start doing? What automatically want to start looking for a job?
Yeah,
someplace.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about, your network. Right?
It'd be easier for you to get into a facility because contractors, like if you get on LinkedIn, the jobs are just endless. But the problem with it is they want years of experience, they want credentials, and to know that you're going to be able to know how to code everything. And the problem with that is going through school, like I learned so much. Now when I started coding, I was like, yeah, I got this.
No, you don't.
Only to realize I knew nothing because it's so different.
Yeah.
So that hands-on training at an actual facility where
with someone that's
where it be a hospital or something, that's going to be the most beneficial. Then once you get a few years experience, if you want to go back and look for contracting jobs, because contractors are going to pay more. They're going to pay more. But I would say, the first one is just try your best just to get in with a facility.
Yeah, and start off looking at outpatient because those are usually your day tickets, I guess you would call them. Mm-hmm. There's one item on there. They come in for a chest X-ray because they had pneumonia. They're getting it looked at again. They're coming in. I mean, it's just one item. I mean, it's not like you got to do a lot of research. You read the order. You get your why they're coming in, and then you find the report and you read what happened on the report. I mean, it's bam, bam, bam. You do those all day long. You get that under your belt, you can go to ER. ER may get a little more complicated because a lot of times they can do procedures in there. They stitch people up. You get all that. Then you go from there. You could go to, I don't know, tumor registry is a good one. They're constantly needing people in there to research, and what you end up doing in tumor registry would be like following a patient for the rest of their life at that facility and researching all that information, reporting it to whoever they report to. There's so many people where they report to. But tumor registry is another venue that you could go towards. Are you doing RHIT or are you doing? Okay, so yeah, that would be a good one to go towards that not a lot of people think about because it's coding, but it's not reporting for a bill. But that would be a good entry, you know. But yeah, outpatient, I would start with outpatient as your entry and then move your way up because that will get you out there. And then I would say go to the facility because they're going to be needing more anyway. And then also if you get again with the associations, JHEMA or AHEMA, a lot of their sponsors, you know, I know with JHEMA we have DocuVoice. DocuVoice has they do a lot of different companies. They got Kiwi Tech, which is a remote coding company, and then you could do maybe some internships with them. You won't pay, but you'll get the experience, and that would look good on a resume. Yeah, and then you can come work with me on the coding roundtable, and we'd have a good time. Because I have fun. I can't do it without having fun. So.
Anybody else?
Those of you who work from home, are you employees or are you contract labor?
She's contract, right?
Yeah,
I'm employee.
I work for an actual company. It's actually still considered a small business because we've got 600-700 employees, and then we would be contract for a hospital. I code for Ohio State University Medical Center. They're a 900-bed trauma hospital. I still get all my normal benefits and PTO and 401k and et cetera from my company, but we are contract for that hospital. Well, no, I still have all my regular tax stuff. 1099 is going to be more of you're going to be not considered contract, but more of self-employed. Because I've done that before with a part-time auditing position I had a couple years ago. So you can still be considered when you're contract for a hospital. The main company that you work for, you're directly employed by them usually with all your benefits, your health insurance, just like you would be if you worked directly for a hospital. But just you code for that hospital, and that would be considered contract for that hospital, if that makes sense.
And it may be based on for a year or a number of charts. It depends.
Yeah.
On what the facility's agreement with that company would be. And we see that a lot. I know of one hospital, that's all they do is they use contracting companies. For instance, Kiwi Tech is one that just comes off the top of my head. There's several out there, but yeah, you could get with a company. They'll be your employer, but you may be coding charts from hospitals from Ohio or California or wherever. You could be in the United Kingdom and be coding charts for the United States. It just depends. Who the contract's with.
Yeah. So if you want to work from home and stuff, you have really good flexibility with stuff like that. That's the cool thing. Like she was just saying, my husband and I are actually getting ready to PCS overseas, so I'll be moving to England in basically 20 days. Terrified. But my company is still going to let me keep my job and all of my benefits. So I'm still going to be able to work my full 40-hour a week, accrue my PTO, contribute to my 401k. Now, not all companies will let you do that. Even though it's not like I'm going to be a citizen of another country. But you know what I'm saying? Not all companies, just because some people just might have some liability issues. But you have a lot of flexibility to be able to do that kind of stuff and just a lot of options because there's so many hospitals and places out there that they need coders or they need, not just coders, billers, CDI, whatever, and you can find a lot of jobs that way too. One thing I want to throw out there, a lot of the ways that I found my remote coding jobs is this job search engine called Indeed.com. That thing is like a gem. That is how I found, since I quit SGMC and have been working from home, the company that I'm with now, I've been with them for over 2 years, but I had worked for a couple of other companies before that. I found all of my coding jobs and stuff through there. So, you can find a lot of cool stuff on there too and still be able to post your resume, make it available, and people can search with keywords and stuff. So it's definitely something to look at, whenever you guys are getting into that job search, because you can limit it to Valdosta or surrounding areas, or wherever you live, or you can leave the location blank and it'll search for all kinds of places. So that search engine, you can find so much stuff on there. And then again, like she was saying, if you get on AHIMA's website or even AAPC's website, they always have information on job postings and stuff. And of course, you can check, what is the local job thing in the area? It's like downtown.
South Georgia Help
The
Wanted.
Department of Labor. Like if you get on their website, I couldn't remember.
I was thinking too hard.
I mean, just search on there. They could have something. Search on like surrounding hospitals or doctors' offices websites and job postings. I mean, there's a lot of resources. And even Wiregrass, I know they did when I went there a long time ago. It seems like they have their little part on their website where. Do you guys still have that? So you can get on Wiregrass's website, and somewhere on there it'll have like a bunch of different job postings just for different companies and fields around the area. So check that too, because I know whenever I was still in school, they would always have all kinds of good stuff on there. So there's a lot of options at your fingertips. You just be prepared to apply at a lot of places, and it'll get very frustrating because there's been times when I first started out, I can't even tell you how many places I applied at, a lot. And it'll tick you off. I mean, you're going to get upset,
And discouraged.
Yeah, it's very discouraging, but you seriously cannot give up. Even though you have 25,000 people say, no, you're not qualified, no, you don't have enough, there's going to be somebody that will take a chance on you. So you just need to keep on applying, even if you don't want to, well, suck it up and do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what you got to do, because somebody will give you that chance, and that's going to be that little shining light that's going to get you where you want to go.
Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
Do they have jobs like statisticians and data research?
Yeah. That's your world.
Really great.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to be. It's so vast. HIM is just vast.
That's just kind of what we've all specialized in a little bit. So.
Yeah. Well, at the time, that's what the big thing was. If you got coding, and you probably need to know coding so that you understand what you're reading. The information governance has blown up. It is huge. Especially if you get in the IT department, you're going to need to know how to get charts to the coders. You're going to need to know what IT would need. What health information would need from IT, because it's a whole other world. I mean, because they need to be able to do the ADT feed. Is ADT? No, it's admission. Thank you, ADT. Okay, I get that confused with the security people too. Acronyms. Yeah, you're gonna need it. So definitely. And in fact, when I saw these guys in here, I was thinking, oh my gosh, guys, NHIM, let's see this happen. Yeah. But yeah, it's just not. You just don't see it. But there is a spot, because I figured data would be there. Y'all's thing, because it's more of a computer. Get the software to fit the interface with that software, and let's get them to talk so that we get the information. Definitely a world for you. Definitely. In fact, I think that's where it's going to go towards mainly, is especially if the CAC becomes big, which is computer assisted coding. It's going to be a lot more editing, kind of. And you can delete the whole stuff and code it from yourself, but a lot of these companies I know we're fixing to get a CAC as well, and I'm kind of excited to see how it's going to code it, because I'm ready to prove it wrong, kind of a thing, because I want to keep my job. And I remember a company, Dolby, I believe is the company, come and did a demo. And the first thing I saw was that the diabetes code was wrong, and I said, y'all know that diabetes code is wrong, right? Because that's secondary, and that's not right. So I was excited to point that out, because It happens. It happens. You get to point it out, and you're like, I know it's wrong, so let's. And that right there gives you job security. So don't be scared to get all the help you can get, because that just makes your productivity get up high. So, but be ready to prove it wrong. That's kind of how you have to go about your day. If you, in fact, I think that's how I coded charts for a while. Was if I had to stand in the courtroom and vow over the Bible that I want to code this code. Is it legit? And that's how you have to code. Not scaring you, hopefully, but that's how you have to do it. You have to be able to back it up, and your employer will want you to be able to code it that way. So.
Not scary. I want to work with you.
Oh my gosh! Come on, let's do it.
Anybody else? Going once?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, did you all start your jobs before you got your credentials?
Yeah.
Fortunately, yes.
We couldn't. Again, we weren't in a accredited program, so we had to. Yeah. But again, luckily, I think most of us just got our foot in the door somewhere doing something and just progressed from there.
Mine was crazy. I got the job in Adel, and I thought the person that would be coding there would code till they died. So I was like, that facility is out of the pocket. And I lived in Adel, so I was just like, there's no way that's going to happen. Just so happened that the girl that coded wanted to change jobs. I went there during my professional practice experience.
I just call it clinical.
PPE, whatever we call it. I can't remember that. Is that what I had? Okay, anyway. Another acronym. Welcome to the world. So I went there, and the job was opening. Actually, on my clinical, I was on the training. They trained me at that time. This is what I would be doing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'll give all that to God because I had no clue that was going to happen. And so I ended up getting the job 3 days later. So it can happen. I'm not saying that's everybody's story, but, you know, hey, you can ask for it and God will give it to you is all I got to say. So just keep applying, keep going after it. Don't be scared. I did not expect to even see the boss when I went to that day just to get my information in the door. And I'm standing there, you know, I just wasn't expecting it at all, and it happened. So it can happen. And when Tift and bought Cook, I was scared I was going to lose my job. But luckily they just brought me right on in with them. So it just worked out. Thank God. But yeah, I did not have my credential at the time. So.
When I first started doing the revenue cycle and the physician billing and whatnot and coding and whatnot, I didn't have any credentials either. But again, a lot of times when you start doing sometimes the inpatient type stuff or hospital stuff, they'll usually want it, but that was not like hospital based or whatever. So
yeah, I would just get your foot in the door with anything that has to do with codes, and then you'll become valuable because you'll know what they're talking about. So, there's a lot of people that code every day. They're like, they don't understand it. They don't understand the difference between CPT and ICD-10. They don't realize that's a whole other thing. A lot of times your CPT codes are hooked to your charge master, so they don't realize that. And so if you get in there and you understand all the basics behind the scenes, then you can put some information out there, and you may be the one that does it. And they're like, oh, let's get her on this job here. We'll get that taken care of. And you're in there. You just never know.
Well, I want to thank y'all for being here.
Yes, thank you for having us.
If you guys have any more questions, just grab them afterwards. But let's everybody give them a round of applause for doing this. And thank y'all for being here, and I hope you've enjoyed it.